So yeah, I did an episode about self-love because self-love is something that I struggled with my entire life. And I won't even say it's like gone where I never have a moment of feeling not enoughness or feeling deficient or comparison or whatever. Like I think that's part of the human experience. So one of the core tenets of everything I teach is that nothing I teach is about immunity from the human experience. It's about navigating through the human experience, right? So I'm not like, if you do this practice, you'll never feel stress again. That's called sociopathy, or that's called being so heavily medicated that you just are numb to the world. So for me, the self-love thing is a constant practice and a constant reminder of doing whatever I can to minimize the presence of self-criticism, right? Because the opposite, the absence of self-criticism is the presence of self-love. You don't actually have to develop self-love. If you just stop criticizing yourself, what's left over is self-love, it's self-acceptance. And so there are plenty of different ways to do that. But it was funny when you just even said looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you love yourself. I love that. And of course, some people think that's narcissistic. But if you look at babies, like babies and little kids, they're narcissists, but in the best way. Like they haven't learned the limitations yet. So like, I'm great, I'm amazing, I love you. I'm going to touch my own face in the mirror because that's the most beautiful person I've ever met. And so I love that you have that practice. And one of my practices for self-love is because I will tend to, and I'm probably the only person in the entire world and the only person that is around this podcast right now that can say this, I tend to be a little hard on myself. I'm sure it's just me. I know, Jackie, you never do it. Mark never does it. None of our clients, nobody. For me, I'm a little hard on myself. And so what will happen is that anytime I would feel some kind of a backslide, right? Let's say, part of my journey is that I've lost 130 pounds. Let's say I see, 2 pounds up on the scale, like I gained 2 pounds. Then immediately my mind goes into this, you're going to gain all your weight back. You're going to be morbidly obese again, and you're going to undo all this progress, and you're going to lose love, and you're going to lose acceptance. And like for 2 pounds, this whole story comes out. And same thing in business, like, you have a month that you thought was going to be better than it actually was, or you thought this client was going to sign up and they didn't. It's really easy to go into the spiral. So one of the conversations I have with myself is a conversation that I, again, will look in the mirror, or if I don't have a mirror handy, I'll look in the camera of my phone so I can see myself, or look at the screen of my phone. And I'll have this conversation that is, I would still love you even if, and then insert in whatever I think the worst case scenario is. Because if I can show myself that there's nothing that I can do around myself that creates conditions around how much I love myself, then the worst thing can happen, and I know I'm still going to be okay. So I can say, Jason, I would still love you even if you got rid of your business and went and got a corporate job, because I would never want to do that. That's terrible. That's failure. That's all these bad things. So once I can kind of fall in love, or at least fall in like with the worst case scenario and know that I'm going to be okay, then the anxiety and the stuff goes away.
Thank you so much for listening to our show. We are so thankful you are here, and we can't do this show without you. And if you made it to the end of this episode, celebrate yourself, because it means you are truly dedicated to feeling better in your health, in your career, in your relationships. And I am so proud of you. Signing out. See you next week. Jackie. Bye-bye.